This AFC West preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Circus Sports. Circus Sports is giving away $14 million this NFL season. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere. Get all the info over at circusports.com. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code SGPN for $20 off. And of course, we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get in and draft Best Ball Mania 4, which has a $3 million first place prize. Sign up with promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Can we just take a moment and thank the good Lord for football?
Football is back. We are live here after an electric Monday Night Football. My preseason lock streak came to an end, much like the Baltimore Ravens, although still did good as a show. I was only 1-1, but Ryan 2-0, producer Josh 2-0. I was 2-0 the previous week. Now stacking up a nice little pile here to take it out to Circus Sports. Of course, we're going to be at Circus Sports this Thursday through Saturday, getting signed up for the Circa Millions, the Circa Survivor, hanging out, having some drinks with Derek. It's going to be an electric couple days. Of course, celebrating Ryan Kramer's birthday. Still time to get out there. Circusports.com. If you can't make it out for the weekend, and there's a bunch of festivities. There's like an open bar at Stadium Swim, a bunch of fun stuff going down. So if you are going, obviously hit us up on X at Gambling Podcast. We'll let you know where we're going to be at. We can hang out, have a couple cocktails. But even if you don't make it this weekend, obviously between now and when the season kicks off, get in there, sign up for Circus Sports.
You keep pushing the birthday narrative. What's this all about?
I just like the idea that we're going out to celebrate Ryan's birthday. Beyonce also taking place in Vegas.
Fuck chicks. I just want to dance.
That is a great Dave Chappelle bit. The chat is lit. I almost said the lid is chat. Let's go football from Tyler, of course. Nicholas Greenwald, love my Chiefs. Rest of the division has no chance. Unfortunately, he might be right there. A couple other nuggets to get to. Of course, Jonathan Taylor, Ryan. We just recorded the AFC South, and Jonathan Taylor requests a trade. Do you think Jonathan Taylor gets traded?
No. What I mean, all right. So the last time I feel like this happened, remind me what happened. But was it not the Colts involved in a Trent Richardson deal for an insanely high draft pick?
They did have a bad Trent Richardson they traded Trent Richardson to the Browns. Was that it, or was it vice versa?
A similar situation
the last
for
person,
a 2014 first round pick.
I mean, Austin Eckler requested.
No, sorry. They acquired Richardson and gave up the first round.
Okay.
Pick. So they're trying to get back that first round pick years later.
Austin Eckler requested a trade. Lamar Jackson requested a trade. Those guys didn't get traded. And the Colts are asking like a shit ton, and
first
you would
round
have to,
pick.
well, yeah, and more, and they want you. They're basically asking for the Christian McCaffrey deal, and you would have to pay Jonathan Taylor
an extension.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna do it. I mean, what team do you think would? Maybe the Buffalo Bills, because they're like the ultimate win now team, but I think they feel good at where they're at.
Hot take here: signing a running back like this does not you're not in win now.
It's a bad move.
You're not. It's not in anything. That doesn't like the Dalvin Cook signing to the Jets doesn't make me like the Jets any bit more. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that we dog on people for giving bad contracts to running backs.
Yeah.
But then when a good team comes in and signs a running back for a larger 1 year deal, it's like, oh yeah, look at that. You know, they just got it off the scrap heap. Scrap heap. How much is Dalvin Cook getting paid? What leverage did he have?
Yeah, I mean,
what are we doing here?
The Dalvin Cook thing, it doesn't make me like the Jets anymore. It makes
second best cook in the division.
It makes me like Breece Hall less for fantasy, for player props. I mean, don't feel as good about my Israel Abanikanda rookie of the year 150-1. It's a little more crowded, but still. To your point, like it doesn't change my position.
Just anyway. Yeah. As far as Jonathan Taylor, like what is like he's sitting? Does he have the same agent as Saquon Barkley? Like where are you looking around the NFL for that? What are the rumors? I don't listen to shit for content. So what are the rumors saying, Sean? What are people saying? Because I did the basic exercise, and I know we're supposed to be talking about the AFC West, but I did the exercise of walking through the team. Which team needs them?
Okay, so according to we have an article up on sportsgamblingpodcast.com breaking down the odds for Jonathan Taylor's next team. You got the Dolphins plus 120.
Stop it with the Dolphins.
I just don't think they do it. Bucks plus 350. That doesn't make much sense.
No, why would they do that this year?
They would be.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Bucks plus 350. Bills plus 450. I guess you could talk me into that. Vikings plus 800. But again, like I think if the Vikings were looking. Like, why wouldn't they just pay Dalvin Cook and then you don't have to give up a ton of other assets
if you were looking sharp.
To do that?
Like we're told the GM is sharp. I just don't see that being a move.
Saints plus 900, Cowboys 15-1. These are some,
all right. I did forget about the Cow. my bad. I forgot about the
only team that would trade is the Dallas Cowboys.
You think Jerry looks into the future? He has to assume this is the last season, so he's not worried about future draft picks.
D. Bettis is saying he's talking about the Eagles. He says he thinks Howie jumped the gun. We could have had Dalvin Cook or Jonathan Taylor. I mean, maybe Jonathan Taylor. I would say Jonathan Taylor probably better than the combo of DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Kenny Gainwell, but Howie is not going to give up assets or spend money for a running back. I mean, if they wanted a running back, they would have just re-signed Miles Sanders. Like, I love what they're doing. I love that they're using draft capital to draft guys like Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round instead of wasting it on running backs like Jonathan Taylor.
That would be an ultimate plot twist. And as someone who managed people for a long time, smart people, nice top performers, the guys that get on, get promoted, and excel. And you know what they all have in common? The ones that are all about the contract, the next contract. It's just going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
2 years down the line, 1 year down the line. So I do think, while I understand it's a business, you can act a certain way. And if you're going to lose a PR battle with Jim Irsay, I have issues with that, Mr.
Yes.
Taylor. He's an easy man to chop down, and he is owning you. So I mean, he's literally like transporting a fucking whale just to show everyone you're the bad guy. Anyway.
Hey, just a reminder: we taped our first Sports Gambling Podcast Stories episode, The Birth.
Look at this guy.
Kramer's wearing the original Sports Gambling Podcast shirt. We'll probably give one of those out as a prize on Patreon.
Maybe a contest prize.
We walked you through all
frame it.
All the garages we've done our show at. The rise from. Just from doing it on our bedroom to having a studio and the whole formation of the company. Bunch of good stories there.
For the record, we didn't do it in the bedroom. We recorded the show in the bedroom. Yeah.
Make sure you check that out. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And of course the NFL win totals. All right. Gonna get through our team by team AFC West preview. Before we do that, shout out to Factor. Oh man. My wife just texted me. She said, tonight I got to make dinner. She's running around doing a bunch of stuff. Thank God I've already signed up for Factor, aka America's #1 ready to eat meal kit. It's chef prepared, dietitian approved. My wife is a vegetarian. So again, they have meals for her. I like meat, aka keto, love the keto food. And it's really good. Obviously it's easy to prepare. You don't have to do much. They do all the heavy lifting for you. Again, it's really great. Get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Again, whenever you eat shitty, it's because you're in a rush. You don't have time. Factor takes care of that. Head over to factormeals.com/SGPN50 and use code SGPN50 to get 50% off. I'm getting hungry. Every time I read these things, I get hungry. Apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites. Kramer, this is what we're going to be eating all Sunday.
Who? Soy boy here. I clicked the vegan and veggie.
Oh
option.
yeah, he
John,
did.
Come on.
Code SGPN at factormeals.com/SGPN to get 50% off. All right, Kramer, who's our first
real
team?
quick? But did I share the hashtag coleslaw T-shirt story on the podcast?
I forget if you mentioned it on the air, but
I was
retell.
walking with my daughter into the office, and this lady like swerved her car over to the side and said, "What's the deal with the T-shirt?" I was wearing the hashtag coleslaw, and I'm like, "It's just a joke." She's like, "I love coleslaw too."
Did you yell out to her? I was once in the Washington State press box, and I was on a kick where I didn't eat meat, and they didn't have any non-meat options. So I literally, and it's a super unhealthy thing. He had just a white hamburger bun with coleslaw in the middle.
Mudslinging. Sean, the joke's on you. I'm prepared for the next time we go back to Washington State. No, they'll be on a cheaper budget. I don't know if they'll be affording the meat.
Oh yeah, they're not in the Pac-12, so might
have to survive on cabbage and mayonnaise. All right, let's hop over into the AFC West. Which, by the way, let's remind people we do have some wins to take away.
Okay, yeah, I took one away from the Houston Texans. I'm still 3 wins high. You are 1 win high,
and I might be doing something controversial tonight.
What is that? Right?
I might be adjusting a win in the wrong direction and be going deeper into debt.
Oh my God! You cannot do that.
It might have to happen.
No,
I realized I might have sinned a little bit. I may have sinned a little bit. All right. So as usual, bottom to the top. So obviously we start with the Raiders.
Yes,
the Raiders. They were one of the teams we spoke about earlier in the process. 6.5 win total. We both projected a very low floor for them. 4-13 for you, 3-14 for me. Obviously, Josh Jacobs being involved is helpful. You could argue Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, 2 of the better fantasy assets at times last year. They can even like score spike weeks together, which is worth noting. You can stack them together and be fine. That being said, Jimmy G, complete unknown for me outside of the Shanahan system.
Yeah,
and I think that you just have to question Josh McDaniels. Obviously, you're going to say I'm too close to this. I've read a lot about what Darren Waller has Darren Waller, not a guy to throw anyone under the bus, but some of the things that he's alluded to. Some of the things we've heard Devontae Adams say, who's on the team.
I didn't need Darren Waller or Devontae Adams to let me know that Josh McDaniels was a bad head coach. Right?
Okay.
I can study a win-loss record.
We know ball.
Josh McDaniels sucks as a head coach.
Obviously.
He's the classic guy who might be a decent coordinator and horrible head coach. I mean, 3 years, 17 and 28. What do we? And he drafted Tebow in the first round.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one where I feel like if we want to give anyone shit for anything,
he watched this throwing release and said, "First round quarterback."
That everyone saw it coming. I mean, he still said, "Fuck it." And you know what? Tebow did fucking win a playoff game.
Tim Tebow, very religious man, and who can blame him?
Wow.
Who can blame him? If you couldn't throw if you couldn't throw a football and you were drafted in the first round in the NFL as a quarterback, wouldn't you believe in God? Like what? Josh McDaniels, what is going on? He was 6-11 last year. What have they done now to improve their situation? Still a bunch
Jimmy
of.
G.
Is that an upgrade over Derek Carr? I don't know.
That was kind of one of the things we discussed on the team preview. Shout out to the team.
Yeah,
previews.
Check out the team previews.
And I think. Look, as much as I don't think either one of us thinks Derek Carr is a great quarterback, Derek Carr gives you a certain type of floor. Obviously, he had some sort of locker room appeal. Although I hear Jimmy G is quite the locker room guy, both with the guys and the gals. But I don't know how they could possibly take a step forward. And we have disgruntled players. Like at minimum, Jacobs pissed off. At minimum, Devontae Adams not super happy. I mean, I don't know. Nothing's changed for me. So yeah, TLDR is the.
I mean, Aiden O'Connell has balled out in the preseason.
Oh yeah, come on. You know what? I do pick and choose when to get excited. but I'm not. I think I pointed this out. He has not faced a ton of pressure, so maybe that means they might have a good offensive line in the like the backups or whatever. But
yeah,
I would not be all right if Jimmy G goes down. That was the
Brian Hoyer is their second string quarterback.
That's the scenario where I said, hey, even if he does it like Jimmy G, I don't think I have some shares in best ball, obviously, because he's basically free and you stack him with Josh Jacobs or Devontae Adams. It makes sense from that perspective. But when you look at his floor and then compare it to what's underneath him, and there's actually probably a step down to Hoyer, maybe a step down to O'Connell from there. The Raiders to be the last winless team.
Okay. So is that your prop?
I'm
Ryan?
going official. I thought about how to play this. Do I go least wins on the season? But same thing when we discussed it on the show. This is the best to me, the biggest odds. So I don't have it in front of me, but I believe.
So yeah, obviously my future for the Raiders under 6.5 wins. I think they're really going to struggle.
Being basic, got it.
What was your future?
Oh, my future is going to be 18-1 last winless team.
Oh, okay. Because my prop is Raiders fewest points. At 22-1. Because I think the offense is going to struggle. Like Josh McDaniels' offenses don't look great.
22-1.
I think the issue with them is their offensive line is going to be really bad. Jimmy G needs time to throw. He's not going to have time to throw in this offense. I just don't see it.
So I mean, real quick, because I know we talked it out once, but would you play that they're the last winless team, or would you just play least wins? So I want to give out the banger here, and I think that like they absolutely have number one pick. And let's see, Vegas Raiders to have 10-1 fewest wins, 18-1 last winless team.
Yeah, I mean the problem with last winless team is they have. I'm looking at their schedule. They have a stretch of games where the spread is only 1.5 points. Like there's like 5 games in their first 10.
All right, you know
where
what?
it's only 1.5 points.
I'll pivot.
To me, fewest points is fun because I just think.
And I'll go fewest wins 10-1.
All right. Yeah, to me, fewest points and fewest wins are pretty correlated. So I'll take the 22-1.
All right, yeah. I mean, they picked with the first pick like at least 25% of the time in my simulations.
They're in a very tough division.
Oh.
I mean, we're contractually obligated not to walk through the schedule again. Save that for the team preview.
We don't do that.
But I'm just out on this Raiders team. To me, I think they're going to struggle to get pressure on the passer besides Max Crosby, and then I don't think they're going to be able to protect Jimmy G.
Yeah, and I actually. So if they're really bad, right? Like one of the I don't think I really had thought about this enough before we did the preview. But I'm actually going to take the under on Max Crosby sacks because I wonder how often they're going to be.
That's a great point.
Pure pass rush situations.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be playing with the lead, and that's when, again, why I threw out the Bills Rousseau as a long shot defensive player of the year. Why some of the Chiefs guys are interesting because if you're playing from a lead, obviously your opportunities to get sacks and those counting stats to make a run at defensive player of the year, you have a much bigger shot.
Yeah. So
big picture, we're out.
11 3/4 is the sack number. And I got, it's like, oh, well, if this team really sucks too, like which guys are going to be out? Like who's going to have that injury and all of a sudden they're missing the last 6 weeks of the season? It very more so than most teams, like locker room loss is potential for Josh McDaniels in early.
Yeah,
there's too many strong vets on the team. That's part of what you have to factor in. Guy like Devontae Adams, very respected. Guy like Josh Jacobs, very respected. And these aren't guys that are fucking like characters. They're not clowns. Like these are respected guys across the league. So McDaniels, I think, on very, very thin ice. All right. Let's
well, and it shows. I mean, first head coach fired odds. He's right there.
You got an update on that? You looking at
it? Hasn't been updated recently, but I'm seeing 6-1 for Mike McCarthy, 6-1 for Todd Bowles, 7-1 for Josh McDaniels, tied with Ron Rivera at 7-1.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So I think
you see that passion for Ron Rivera getting that preseason win.
All right. I also think the issue is with the Raiders owner. He's incredibly cheap. So, although he fired Gruden in mid season, but that was like special circumstances. So you have to factor in. That's why I think Ron Rivera is probably the leader in the clubhouse. Again, like the Commanders celebrating like they won their Super Bowl. He's just itching to put Bieniemy in there and see what he's got before he would love to get some interim games from Bieniemy before actually having to make the decision the next year, right?
I actually kind of disagree. Well, I partially disagree because I think Ron Rivera is a perfect transition. He's like a transitional CEO. He's never going to be the long-term guy.
No, but he transitioned from him having the job to Eric Bieniemy, basically interview during the season, and then after that season, they can decide whether to make him full head coach.
They need to be out of the playoff hunt, I think, to do that. And I don't know. Did you say McDaniels was still 7-1 when you read those off? I'm looking at live right now odds, and they still don't make sense when I look at it. Like Todd Bowles and Mike McCarthy being above Josh McDaniels. I don't quite understand that. I mean, we talked about how many of those owner meetings did McDaniels have last year? I think we said it was 3.
Yeah, we did the closed door meeting counter, and it was off the charts.
It's more than most coaches have in a career, honestly. All right, let's matriculate up the win total, or I guess a little bit up. Denver somehow getting 8.5. A lot of respect coming from Sean Payton. People saw the way he ripped that bong with the young people. And
smoking my weed.
So he can still coach football. No one is even suggesting that, hey, maybe this guy. What if taking a year off as a coach is a bad thing? 9-8 was your prediction.
Yeah,
Sean going over.
Kind of bold.
7-10. I took a kind of a. I'll give myself a weak ass take here. Kind of a soft under. I feel like with this team, they're going to do something spectacular one way or another.
I mean, I went 9-8. I thought, with the theory of like, hey, their defense is really good, which I still believe
they are, and
they'd be able to get something decent out of Russell Wilson. But what we've seen out of Russell Wilson in the preseason, oh my God! I do also think there's a world where Jared Stidham comes in and wins them a couple games. It's a weird. They're one of the harder teams to handicap because I do think they have a legitimately good defense. Like you look back at their numbers of that defense, like they played so good with the offense giving them dog shit. So my theory was I don't think Sean Payton's going to turn them into a Super Bowl contender. I thought he'd be able to give them a slight bump, even the game management stuff, just to be better than Nathaniel Hackett. I think is worth 2-3 games. But then watching that Broncos team. Sean Payton, yeah, dude. What are you talking about? He's way better than Nathaniel Hackett.
Will he be better this year?
Yes.
What if this year isn't the goal?
Well,
they have their picks back this year.
No. There's certainly a world where he's out on Russ and they blow it up, but I still think he's gonna know when to call a timeout. I still think he's not going to try and kick a 60-yard field goal.
But I bet your ass that his deal with ownership is something where basically he said, look, there might be some poison here that's going to take me a year to get out. I think that not many versions, like if you're looking at the simulations, Sean, not many versions of this team does everything hit and it becomes Sean Payton championship coach. This team's back. I think in more simulations, Sean Payton championship coach identifies a whole bunch of bad in this team. And they are kind of rebuilding.
They might have to gut it.
So very low floor.
Yeah,
low floor. I guess you could say if Russ is back and Sean Payton, creates a modern offense, it'll work. But guess what? The offense looks like shit. The protection looks like shit.
They're one of the hardest teams. So yeah, technically I did go over at 9-8.
You want to change?
But my future is Broncos under 381.5 points. I took that off Kramer's sheet as well because I just don't see.
That's a lock. We got to get down on that.
That's why it was tough to figure out, Ryan. It was tough to figure out the win-loss on this team because there is a world where they win 9 games, but their offense really sucks. I mean, remember it was like, hey, if they can get to 20 points in 6 games, they would have won all the 6. So they're very hard to handicap from that point of view, but I think under 381.5 points, that covers you for a lot of scenarios. The scenario of, I think like their best case scenario is their defense balls out. Sean Payton cleans up some of the turnovers and some of the horrible game time decisions, and they get like 10-7. That's their absolute ceiling in my mind. But there's also the floor case that you're describing. Either way,
so
I think they could have under 381.5 points wise and maybe win 9 games.
So 22.5 points is basically what they have to average to get there. And I think the other aspect of this is if you believe that Sean Payton is a smart coach, he's going to look at this team and maybe he decides, oh shit, we can't protect anything. We got to run the ball. We got to run the ball and play defense.
Tyler in the chat, who's a Broncos fan, so watch out for his take.
Tyler.
Saying Javonte Williams is back, baby. Watch out. He's pointing Pat Surtain, best DB in the league.
Love the defense.
He's certainly up there. And I think that's why they're a tough team to completely handicap. Like all you have to do is turn Russell Wilson into a game manager that doesn't turn the ball over, and I think you're in decent shape.
Could they pull off the rare fewest points scored, fewest points given up double?
That would be insane. But then what does their record look like, right?
I think that's why I took the points.
Well, and again, I went 9-8 in part because we love that trend of the Denver Broncos first 2 weeks, very good ATS at home. They start off with, in my mind, 2 very winnable home games with the Raiders and then the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are coming off their first game at home against the Arizona Cardinals, first game in the new era with the new owner. They're going to be going nuts, and then non-conference road game, massive letdown spot. So I think they start off decent. That's why I don't like them for, last winless team, that kind of stuff. So kind of correlated to my prop. And
well,
now
real quick, least points scored 25-1, least points given up or fewest points given up 20-1. So that would be a fun double.
I would probably go least points scored. Again, they're a very weird team. For my prop, I do like Russell Wilson under 10.5 interceptions, Ryan. And it's not because
be careful, sir.
It's not because I think Russell Wilson is going to have a really good year. It's kind of the opposite. I think one, Peyton is not going to let him throw as much as they did last year. 2, if he does get to like 10 interceptions, I think there's a real world where we see Jarrett Stidham. They signed Jarrett Stidham
100%
the first day in the off season. So I just don't think.
Got to make sure you get your money down on some Jarrett Stidham. Lock that up. Hey, you know what? You know what he did? First order of business, get me Jarrett Stidham. Second order of business, get me Adam Troutman. Boom. I'm ready to go.
I am not by any means a Russell Wilson supporter here, but
we used to be. The
under 10.5 interceptions. Again, maybe he is better somehow, but I think this just plays out in a lot of scenarios.
Got to see it. Haven't seen it. Got to see it. I'm with you, Russ. Under 37.5 passing yards. Very similar premise, although I feel like you're flirting with some much more dangerous fire of like a 5 interception game to open the season. That they just don't look like they're going to be able to protect the quarterback. Russ is not the same guy. I don't give a shit if he was working out, doing Pilates with a football in his hand. It's not going to make him any slipperier. Yeah, I get it. He lost some weight. Sean Payton's offense is complex. Like, let's not forget that this team is not. Everything we've heard, everything we've seen, the offense is not in sync. So I have no idea.
Yeah, that's why I like, to your point. Like, I think the way to fade them is the points market, fewest points, that kind of stuff, because the yardage props on Russ, which I also like, because then if the defense does carry the team, there's a world where maybe they get that 9-8, but you still hit some of these unders on the offensive stuff. I'm looking to fade their offense. I'm with you.
I really heavily considered taking a win away here.
Wow. I also did consider it, but I don't. The team preview, I was on the over 8.5, so I'll stand by it. Ryan, you know what? I'm not considering getting rid of Game Time. Love the Game Time app. We were just talking about doing an SGPN outing over at the Rose Bowl already. Like, hey, we got to get tickets. Who's in, who's out? It's going to be a shit show figuring out who's coming to the game, who's not. I'm going to wait till the last minute because, hey, who knows? Maybe Colby is banned from ever appearing at the Rose Bowl. We'll have to run a background check, see if he can get in. Either way, I'm going to be getting my tickets on Game Time. Love the Game Time app. Super easy to use. Great for last minute tickets. Lowest price guarantee. They even have event cancellation protection, which you don't think you would have to need, but again, Hurricane Hillary came by LA and they canceled everything. So who knows? Good to have that event cancellation protection. Got you covered there. The low price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you can find tickets in the same section and row for less. You can't do it. Don't even try. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
You know what? Let's breaking news. I'm moving a win off the board.
Wow, can you do that right?
I'm taking it away from.
Well, you did have one win to adjust.
Yeah. Well, and who knows? Maybe I'll be back to where I was today. I gotta do it. I looked at the schedule, and I don't think we had in mind. I'm gonna have their start be 2-2 instead of 3-1 because I don't think they have a lot of pass rushes to face, or like their schedule has a ton of good pass rush. I mean, for example, the Washington Commanders, that's a tremendously difficult matchup for them right now. That's going to be a defensive toss up. Maybe home field's enough, but yeah, I took the win off the board. Sorry, Broncos fans. Sorry, Tyler. I can't. How could you be optimistic about how could you be optimistic about that guy? He showed more passion for a fucking Subway sub, and everyone knows Subway. Like, even if you have a guilty pleasure of enjoying Subway, Subway's gross.
Yes.
Be real with yourself. All
Unless
right.
Subway advertises, then that'll be a real tough day. And you guys, the listeners, you'll have to pretend that you weren't aware of our Subway bashing. But if Subway ever decides to sponsor the show, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and eat some Subway and pretend like it's super delicious. But not a Subway.
And Ryan here,
Jersey Mike's, please reach out.
They slice their meat like men.
Jersey Mike's legit as far as like a chain sandwich place. Jersey Mike's super high up. And Danny DeVito to be on the same team as Danny DeVito. Jersey Mike's, hit us up, baby.
Yeah, the Subway sub thing would have to be like, oh, Ryan is Italian and here's his Mamma Mia, the Italian. Oh. Come on, no one likes the smell of that yoga bread. All right, moving up the board to a team we all love, the Los Angeles, formerly San Diego Superchargers, 9.5 on the win total. They completely fixed all the problems with the head coach by hiring a new offensive coordinator.
Yep.
We were both relatively optimistic, 10-7s, which Sean was shocked to see he landed on the same number as me.
Well, Ryan usually just loves him some Chargers. I mean, you can.
I do love me some Chargers.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, all that arm talent.
No, I do think right now they're healthy. They haven't had their catastrophic injuries, which eventually they will because they have the worst medical team in the world. I mean, the skill players are legit. Their offensive line is healthy and in the best position. You know, I think Kellen Moore is good for Justin Herbert. It's hard to be super negative on them. And I'm blanking on his name. Who was their third round pick defensive guy?
Oh,
he was flashing in the preseason game.
We're going deep, huh? I can look it up while you.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third rounder. Huh?
Deion Henley was flying around.
Safety,
linebacker, Washington State.
They kind of need that.
Yeah, no, he looked good, and that's what they need. They they need someone that can slow down the run game. Like, that was how you beat the Chargers. They let you run the ball on them, and you did it, and it worked.
That's my other.
I'm not sold on the Chargers like super hype of like MVP season, Super Bowl, but I do like, and again, the win total was 9.5. I think I would rather make playoffs at -125 because I do think you could get in like they did last year. What they got in last year at 9-8. Either way, I think there's a chance you get in at 9-8. why not knock it down versus if you're 10 wins, you're definitely getting in. So I think there is slightly more value on taking the make playoffs for them. So yeah, they were 10-7. 10-7 will get you into the playoffs 100%.
I think so. I think,
but 9-8 might.
I mean, one bit of data that you would see if you had access to this beautiful sheet is that with the win total, the win total delta from the AFC to NFC, like the average win total that we broke down, 8.9, not adjusted for juice, but 8.94 versus 8.13 for the NFC. Obviously, we have one of these teams getting more home games, but that's a larger than expected spread, which is telling us that maybe the AFC is a little overrated.
Wow. Breaking news.
I think when we look back on this, we're gonna maybe it's coming back to the point of, will a 10-7 team miss the playoffs? I think that stuff tends to normalize, and I think you see a lot of the easiest kind of matchups being cross conference. So yeah, I don't know. I would tend to think that if the Chargers go 10-7, like you said, I would be willing to lock that up as a playoff team. Like the AFC isn't that good. Yeah. The AFC isn't going to be that much better than the NFC that they're going to have an 11. Like,
tell me a time, Ryan, when a 10-7 team didn't make the playoffs.
Matt Castle.
No, that was 10-6.
Oh, that's
a little trick.
There you go. That was math.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
What's your future on the? Chargers?
I think the Chargers. We've been kind of. I got very excited when I found this market because I think it's a fun way to play a team when you don't want to fuck around with the win variance. Chargers is the perfect example of this. They could fuck up a wet dream.
Yes.
So wins and losses, I'd rather not.
You're right.
Get involved
so just play the points. Is that what you're doing?
And I'm going to stack it because I'm going to take the over 425.5 points.
All right.
And I'm going to also take they score the most points in the league this year at 16-1. We saw how that defense could just give up yard like that. Their defense sped teams up by letting them run against them, which is that's phenomenal if you think about what that is.
Yes.
So could they be in high paced shootouts? Obviously, us thinking Denver and Las Vegas are going to be involved in lower scoring games. Maybe not the best correlation there for 4 of their games to exist like that, but. Do I think the Chargers are going to be a team that's going to threaten to score 30? Like, can they score 30 points any given week? Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And is there anyone in the league that you could look straight up? Everyone stays healthy. Whatever. Caveat: is there another team in the league that you could say is head and shoulder like a different tier in terms of ability to score or ability to create games with a lot of plays? I don't think so. So yeah, I love the fact that they're 16-1. I mean, there are a number of teams beneath them.
Yeah, they didn't have any super low scoring games. They scored a touchdown in every single game, which is an interesting bet if you want to run it back that way. The only game
they always offer that sucker.
The only game they had a 10-point game, a 16-point game, and a 17-point game. Everything else was 20+. So putting up points was not the problem with this Chargers.
And unless Herbert is truly the problem, I think if this offense is gonna be throwing the ball down, they didn't take a lot of attacking shots, and if they're doing that this year, and Eckler's still around to be that dynamic weapon, they're gonna be a Madden offense, and
he's one of those guys who will get penetration.
So yeah, that's my play.
So that's your future. For me, my prop bet. Give me Joey Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year, 45-1. He obviously has the talent to get this done. And again, if we're high on the Chargers offense, putting up some points, him, having some good opportunities to rush the passer, maybe their defense gets a little bit better. I think this is again, he's struggled to stay healthy, but certainly he has the pedigree. He has the genes that would warrant a guy 45-1. I mean, it's just crazy. Like if he's healthy and he's in there, he's a game wrecker. Yeah, at 45-1. I don't understand why it's quite this long. I get it. He's struggled staying out there, but again, even with his even with his struggles, he's had 4 double-digit sack seasons. I think this is kind of like the perfect time for him. And assuming the Chargers offense puts people in spots where they're playing from behind, Joey Bosa, baby, is going to be rushing off the edge.
It's the opposite of what we were discussing with Max Crosby.
Yeah.
It's the,
he's going to have a ton of opportunities. You play the Chiefs twice,
and like we were saying, they're pretty shallow. So it's Bosa and it's Mac and it's pretty much that's it. For reference now, Max Crosby, who I think is in like the 15 to 20 to 1 defensive player of the year. He was 11 3/4. Bosa's only 9 3/4. I know you mentioned him for the long shot market, but
yeah,
that sack total is certainly pretty interesting.
Brad Ward in the YouTube chat saying Quentin Johnston, 22 to 1 offensive rookie of the year. What's your handle on that, Ryan?
Same as when we came in. I thought like Zay Flowers
is
the guy who I thought was going to translate right away.
Yeah.
Obviously Jordan Addison is a beast, and we've seen him do it at a couple different places. Like doing it at Pittsburgh is impressive as a receiver. So after that, let's see Jackson Smith and Jigba be better than Tyler Lockett. And
he flashed. He had that sweet catch.
Saw a couple people mention Tyler Lockett wouldn't have got tackled at the 1 yard line. So yeah, I'd probably, and then Johnston, I would worry. He needs Mike Williams to get hurt, which always possible. He tends to do that.
Yeah, he's not like officially dialed in. Where to your point, Zay Flowers at 30 to 1, especially with Rashad Bateman already dealing with the ankle stuff, and him looking pretty good to go as far as like plug and play and being able to use right away. I would go between Zay and Quentin Johnson. I would go Zay Flowers. You getting the better price. DraftKings promo code DGen has him 30 to 1 versus Quentin Johnson only 22 to 1. Yeah, it feels like a little bit better there, but
I mean, honestly, you can kind of break down that. To me, you break down that market for like where are they on the pecking order for targets? So Zay Flowers is probably, now it might be the most evenly distributed wide receiver targets, but he probably number 2 after Mark Andrews on that team. Jordan Addison number 3, Jackson Smith and Jigba number 3, and Johnston at least number 3, probably number 4. You got to include Eckler in there, so number 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't love that as much.
Well, and Tyler pointing out in the YouTube chat, Eckler all in on himself as a 101 in fantasy. He said his goal is 80 receptions, 1,000+ rush yards, and 20+ touchdowns. As a Eckler guy, fantasy wise, you gotta like the fact that his contract is now more incentive based, right?
He's aware. Does it help to be self-aware? That's a deep question, but yeah, it's fun that he wants to score touchdowns. I mean, it's like, ooh, he's talking about it. A football player is talking about wanting to score. Give me that guy. Let me upgrade him on my draft board.
It is fun.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. I considered, I just think this Chargers most points prop is maybe one of, like, if I had to make a single lock in the AFC, that's a 16 to 1 bet. I would consider making a lock of locks.
Really?
I mean, Sean, I went back. I wanted to confirm this because I don't like to lie to the people.
No.
Or the patrons, but I looked it up, and I've bet it now 3 times. First time was back on July 21st.
Wait, and what? Walk us through the bet.
The Chargers most points.
Oh, most points.
Yeah, that, and I wanted to make sure that I truly believe that this was going to be a. So yeah,
no, that's a good bet. I like the over points as well.
Yeah, like I said though, the fact that I bet it 3 different times, that we might have to review the process.
Ryan, while we're
might have to review the process.
While we're touting CLV, I just
just to be clear, no CLV at all. Same price as it is today, but I bet it 3 different times starting in July.
Khalil Herbert, if you listen to the Bears preview, and DraftKings is great with these division specials, I gave out Khalil Herbert to lead the division in rushing yards at 60 to 1. Guess what the price is now, Ryan? Today, I was getting in some Twitter beefs, as I've been known to do, or just mix it up. I was debating Roshan Johnson versus Khalil Herbert. It was actually a very polite back and forth.
Oh, that's good.
I was making a solid case, I thought, for Khalil Herbert, and then I was like, I wonder what that price is now. Looked it up. What do you think it's at?
Well, I'd imagine Madison was ahead of him. Aaron Jones was ahead of him, and probably Gibbs was ahead of him just from name. But Montgomery's in the. There's a lot, so the price is going to be long, and maybe I'll be less surprised than you were. But you got 60 to 1, which is amazing CLV.
Thank you.
I'll speculate that he's down in the 12 to 15 to 1 range.
20 to 1.
Okay,
so
still value according to my
David
metrics.
Montgomery's plus 450.
That touchdowns or yards.
Most rushing yards.
Well, that's
and
not,
Justin
that's not
Fields
right.
is the leader. Aaron Jones
That's not right.
is plus 350. Madison plus 350. Montgomery 450. AJ Dillon 7 to 1. Jahmyr Gibbs 12 to 1. And then Khalil Herbert 20 to 1.
Okay.
I mean, again,
That's a real mess of a division.
yeah. Oh well,
I'd probably
that's why the long shot stuff's interesting.
Give me Aaron Jones.
At what, 7 to 1?
Whatever you said, 350. That's probably the guy. They sound like they're really gonna get him the fuck involved. Although I'd rather have all scrimmage.
And Jordan Love has looked sharp. I mean, I don't know what.
What if he's better than Aaron Rodgers this year? I didn't even think about that.
I try not to take away too much, but again, all my like hyping up the Steelers felt like that's been confirmed on the early preseason stuff. And Jordan Love,
it's affirmation season.
Jordan Love, who super skeptical. Again, small sample size. Just we haven't seen it and
looked confident.
Ran the
That's
offense, felt clean.
Yeah.
So good sign if you're and
I don't
you're a
want
Packers backer.
They're circled in pencil. They could be a team getting an upgrade. Honestly, I know I did a little win movement, but again, sometimes we got to watch the game tape. All right. Should we close it out with the Chiefs?
Yeah, Ryan. One last shout out before we go to the Chiefs section. Underdog Fantasy. Kramer drafted for 24 hours straight. Maniac over here. If you haven't drafted a Best Ball Mania team yet, what are you waiting for? It's super fun. $25 entry fee, $3 million up for grabs. First place, $15 million in total prizes. So fun. The best part is once you draft your team, you don't have to manage it. Don't have to collect league fees, all the stuff that sucks about fantasy football. Underdog Fantasy, you don't have to worry about it all. You have until September 7th. So get those teams in. And if you use our promo code SGPN, first deposit doubled up to $100. So you deposit $100, you use the promo code SGPN, 4 free entries, 4 free chances to win your share of $15 million. Underdog Fantasy. Again, Kenny Gainwell has been my guy in Best Ball Mania. Love him. Continues to be looks like a really good pick there. Of course, concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Kramer, what do we got? Chiefs.
Well, we got the Chiefs, and it was.
This is the most boring team.
Did we even talk? Did we not talk about the Chiefs-aholic stuff on the Chiefs preview? Yeah, all right.
Didn't get to that.
Is that a bad omen or a good omen? Or what kind of omen is that?
Yeah, if you haven't been following the Chiefs story, there's a guy like a super fan Chiefsaholic who is also
it's like Fireman Ed goes and starts robbing banks dressed as Fireman.
Dressed as Fireman Ed. They're like, oh yeah, we can track you down, and I guess they did. The Chiefsaholic lawyer, if producer Josh. It may be too much of an ass, but if you're able to track down, there's a clip of a Chiefsaholic lawyer out there. I just thought of this. It's hilarious because he's just going, well, we have a feeling that once the jurors hear the final whistle, they will know that the defense shut out the offense. And like he keeps making all these football analogies for Chiefsaholic. I think he even referred to him at some point as Chiefsaholic. He's
a hero. He's a real hero.
Or just lazy when it comes to
what I mean. Do you think if the Eagles had a super fan, what was that guy on the Eat That Pussy? That guy?
Yeah.
If
EDP.
that guy started robbing banks, would the fan base pull for him, or would it go the other way?
Yeah, I think he would be a bit of a folk hero. I mean, as long as you're not like shooting people, I think the average person would go, "Hey, I took some money from a bank."
It's Robin Hood.
All right, what do you do with that money? You going to Chiefs games? I mean, if he didn't,
You're betting on the Chiefs.
yeah. If wait, yes, Josh, you're the man. He found it. All right, this is
Chiefsaholics.
we gotta watch this.
Last
This is
drive, and he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows, and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs kingdom. This is not Chiefsaholics' last drive.
that was so great. He like had to hammer home. Okay, I'm gonna football analogies, and he was so well rehearsed for that interview. That was amazing.
Very untrustworthy.
And Chiefsaholic was on the lam for a while. They got him. Obviously, he's on trial. That was his attorney. He skipped bail. That was the issue. They caught him. Then he skipped bail. Supposedly he did attend the Super Bowl, if urban legend is correct. So
this guy, I mean, true legend. This is
it's hard not to respect his passion. I mean, if you're robbing banks to go to the Super Bowl, God bless you.
God bless you. All right.
I mean, the Chiefs, super boring team. We said this as soon as the prices came out.
Boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Chiefs fan, they're good. Chiefs to win the division, -165. Like, how can you look anywhere else? The fact that you're getting it compared to like a team like the Jags with so many questions, such less pedigree, to me is just astronomical. I just don't understand why this isn't -250. I mean, you remember those years where the Patriots were dominating?
This is the Chargers' year, Sean.
You remember those years where the Patriots just won the division year after year after year? I mean, eventually they made it like -400. But the Chiefs have been in the AFC conference game 5 years in a row. You can get cute and build a case against them, or you can just hope they lose in the playoffs. But I just don't see many scenarios where they don't win the division at -165. What are we doing here?
I locked this bet in pretty early. I said I'm done. I'm done doing this to myself, Sean. And not only that, I was again looking at the tape, and I realized what the fuck am I doing going under on the Chiefs? Why would I do this to myself? That's not how it's gonna go.
I did do upset Danny, our guest there, but
so I actually,
their win total is 11.5.
Just for the record, I'm balancing out now.
Oh wow!
I'm giving them the win I took away from the Broncos. Yes, play that fucking music. Give it to me. It's good stuff.
What about the prop bet? The props also kind of a
snooze fest.
They're just not a fun.
I'll say it.
They're just not a fun team to bet on.
Kadarius Toney under 650.5 yards.
Oh, we got some Kadarius Toney, young Joker.
Yes.
He's like rapping at an Arco station.
Come on, you're a clown, bro. You're a clown.
He's outside the LA Museum.
He's a fucking
How
clown.
gangster is that? Oh, yo, I'm gonna go in and look at some historical jugs and artifacts at the museum.
It's fucking clown.
Young Joker. All right, he's having a good time. Danny really talked me into it, and you looking at the early snap counts with Patrick Mahomes in the preseason, which I do think will tell you something there. Sky Moore over 550.5 receiving yards.
All right.
And again, I also am working on my top secret first touchdown list. Haven't said officially yet, but Watson's interesting. Richie James also interesting. He hasn't been getting the snaps, but I do think he's a guy, and maybe not early in the season, but he's definitely a guy that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, all you need to do is catch the ball. We'll scheme you open. You will be wide open. I mean, look at Kadarius Toney. Like, he could have fell into the end zone. We'll figure out a way to get you wide open. Richie James has great hands. Like, that's the only reason he's in the league.
Well, I would say he's also very good at diagnosing the soft spots in the zone. I think I mean, again, there's a reason he got on the field in Mike Cat, a smart offense.
He reminds me of like kind of what Greg Ward was for some time for the Eagles.
Poor man's Cole Beasley.
Yeah, just a guy who's going to catch the ball.
Gets open.
Maybe better than Cole Beasley. We'll find out.
Who was the guy they called 7-Eleven on the Dolphins Hard Knocks because he always got open? It was some like former lacrosse player. I don't think he turned into anything, but
no.
All right. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't really. I thought it'd be funny to give out the Tony under because not playing. And give me any form of under, any form of under.
But if he does play anytime touchdown, I'm in because they will get that man a touchdown.
Now, can I ask? Is your secret first touchdown list? Will this include a single player from each team, or is it just kind of Sean freestyling what he thinks?
Hold on, let me Google top secret in my Google Drive.
Yeah.
Oh, I got two on here. They're both tight ends.
All right, but is your goal to have a guy from each team, except for the Cowboys, obviously?
Yeah, because they're not going to score touchdowns.
Yeah, they don't score touchdowns. That would be
maybe
stupid.
one from each game. I don't know. We'll work on it.
Game or
shopping.
you know what I think it is. I think you need a top 3 from each team. That's what I think we need.
No,
to come
I
up
can't
with.
do that. I can't do that.
We can do like oh, come on, you got this. All right, so Chiefs run it back. So yeah, I moved a win. I moved a win from the Broncos to the Chiefs. It's just it's basic accounting. So no harm done. I still owe a win back into the kitty.
I still got 3 wins. I got to get rid of. I'm not going to change anything in the AFC West. I don't want to Benedict my win total here.
No need to.
No, you switch yours from under to over. So yeah, I don't run that kind of show, Ryan. But hey, yeah, you do you.
What do you mean? I just said my bad. I don't know what I was thinking. How did I find my way to under? Danny was sitting right here next to me.
Yeah,
he must have been so disappointed.
No, actually, he was annoyingly just relaxed and hey,
I won a Super Bowl. Fuck you.
We don't have to win another Super Bowl.
Fuck you.
The fuck you talking about? You got to win every Super Bowl.
This fucking
bastard, just confident fan.
Dickhead.
Don't need that in the game. Hey, Kramer.
Yes.
Thursday, we're going to be live circa Las Vegas Stadium Swim, and also making our VSiN debut, our own show, Sports Gambling Podcast, live Friday nights. This Friday night and every NFL Friday. So basically, not Labor Day weekend, but every Friday after that. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Live show from VSiN.
Nice job getting to 6.
Highly recommend. Again, if you have YouTube TV, I think if you get the sports package for Sunday Ticket, VSiN's included. But get in, sign up. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, smash that heart button or like. Well, there's got to be a button. You should smash it. Record. Love.
Get in. Yeah. YouTube TV in general, they're not paying me to say this, but I do like it. And especially now that it's Sunday Ticket, you got to get it. What do you
mean, you're really showing, listen, we've all been there. Maybe you got to overextend a little bit to get it. Just find a way, right? Find a way. Sometimes
Merrill said,
find a way,
find a way,
find a way.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
We'll be back tomorrow morning, AFC North for Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Chiefsaholic behind bars. Sad story.
Kramer, let it ride.